This episode is sponsored by HelloFresh. As you know, we set intentions at the beginning of the year to make healthier choices.
Between our jobs and running after the kids, we don't always have time to plan and cook a healthy sit-down meal.
But HelloFresh makes that whole process stress-free and delicious.
With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. We've used HelloFresh over the years to help us make cooking easy, affordable, and fun. Not to mention, it definitely helps break up the monotony of our regular healthy go-to meals because there are over 35 weekly recipes to choose from with ones that can help you with your goals, including fit and wholesome, family-friendly, vegetarian, quick and easy, and more.
To try HelloFresh with our limited time discount plus free shipping, click the link below or go to HelloFresh.com and use the code on the screen to try HelloFresh today.
Are Disney adults born or made? Let's discuss. Welcome to Princess and Scoundrel, where we take you along our scrappily ever after, from Fantasyland to Tatooine and everything in between. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Steven.
And we're talking about Disney adults.
It happens.
It happens. It happens to the best of us. I know there's this negative connotation around Disney adults, but I think we've recently recruited another couple Disney adults into the club.
It's funny because I don't know how it happens. And that's what we're going to try to figure out.
That's a nice segue.
Yeah.
So without further ado, we are bringing our friends on. You know him from our Thank the Maker network. He is the host of Thank the Maker, Adam, and his wonderful wife, Jill. Thank you guys for coming to hang out with us.
Hello
Thank you
there.
for having us.
So you guys recently went on your first trip together to Disney World, right?
Yes, and my first trip, point blank, period.
In life.
In
ever.
life, yes.
First vacation ever.
So
First vacation ever.
No days off for life.
So my first kind of let's just jump off from here is kind of to Adam. From what we knew, you weren't a Disney goer per se. You know, you kind of knew of it, but you'd been to Galaxy's Edge. So was there something at Galaxy's Edge that kind of intrigued you enough that you said, you know what, I need to bring my wife, bring my family here and come check this out?
Well, there's kind of two parts to the answer to that question. One, I did grow up going to Disney World and Epcot, and Florida in general, being from Missouri, and it's probably the same in Texas. Florida is the go-to summer vacation spot or spring break or whatever. Florida in general, if someone's gonna move from Missouri and retire, they go to Florida. If someone's gonna go on a vacation, and it's the one thing that they can afford, it's the Panhandle and they can drive there, or they're going to go for it and go all the way down to Disney and Universal. So we did that. And the Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals, had spring training, or have always had spring training in Florida,
Yeah.
right? And it was St. Pete for a long time. So
My parents go to spring training almost every single year. My uncle lives in Pensacola, so the fact that we were always driving to Florida and never just drove the car to Disney World was very offensive to me as a child.
a point of
And
contention.
most of my adult life, too.
So I had been there quite a bit, but I was always more a Universal and Epcot kind of fan. I, of course, grew up watching Disney movies, and I had been to Magic Kingdom plenty of times and whatever, but I was never a Mickey ears wearing kind of Disney fan. But once Galaxy's Edge came around, I, of course, lost my mind. Had to go there. We had so many conversations as it was being built, as it was being planned, how soon I was going to be able to go, were we going to go there for my 40th birthday, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. Finally went, not long after it opened, right before the pandemic.
He went the first week of March 2020.
Yeah, so
Great timing.
pretty early on, right at the line before the pandemic. I came back swearing dude, I've got COVID. I have it.
Dude,
I was in LAX. I had COVID.
And he was like, I need to get a test. I was on a plane. I came from LA. And I was like, there are 5 tests total in the state of Missouri right now. I don't think you're going to be the person that they give one of them to, but sure, go for it.
Point being, going there, and granted, I went to Batu West, but I was I've talked about this on the podcast before, not so interested in going to Magic Kingdom, but very much a changed adult person when it came to like park going, I was fully invested. And when it came time to like finally plan a vacation together, which we hadn't done in a long time. She had come to lots of places with me for a tour. We had done lots of family vacations. We had been to Florida for a couple family weddings and things, but we hadn't taken like a proper, legitimate, do what we want, not have any other schedule type of vacation in a long, long time. And we were talking about Hawaii. And long story short, it was a lot to try to plan, and we were doing it.
Long story short, we both have ADHD, and like 3 weeks before we were going to go, we were like, okay, we probably can't go to Hawaii in like 19 days. So that one's off the table.
So let's just do Disney instead. And she, of course, like the story she's probably about to tell, hadn't gone for all these reasons. So we said, screw it, let's just go to Disney. Because in a lot of ways, it's like really easy. You know, you don't have to plan like a whole bunch of landmarks to hit.
There are so many people who would like beat you upside the head for saying that, I feel like.
But it is easy in terms of like it's all self-contained.
Contained, yes.
Like when we were looking up Hawaii vacations, we were trying to like go into forums and stuff, hitting up friends who'd been there, trying to find like the best Lost tour, the best volcano tour, the best whatever. Whereas Disney's like, let's just go to Disney. Our good friend is a booking agent who knows everything. I've been there recently for Galaxy's Edge. You know, I know the other parks enough. Let's just do that. And we decided, let's go for it. And I couldn't be more stoked. Now's the time where you tell the story about how your childhood was ruined by your parents.
Well, which one? I'm joking. I'm totally kidding.
Kind of.
So I think I was maybe 5 when Aladdin came out. So I was like getting Jasmine was my favorite. So I was getting super into Disney. I was like, yo, Mom, can we go to Disney? And she was like, well, surprise, I'm pregnant. So I'm not going to go waddle around Disney while I'm like 6 months pregnant. And she's like, plus, let's wait until the baby is old enough. And so the baby was finally old enough. And then surprise, pregnant again. Oh. So by the time the youngest one would have been old enough to enjoy it, I was like over it. I was like 17. I was like, I'm not going to go to Disney with my family. Like, this is stupid. I hate everything. I'm a teenager. But it worked because...
But then they finally went after you were like...
Yeah.
A young adult and out of the house.
Yeah, that's correct. So I got ditched. But such is life for an oldest child.
I mean, so she did keep her promise. Your mom did. Of
just
going to Disney.
To me.
So we'll just wait until you're an adult and you're out and we don't have to pay for you.
She said we'll go to Disney. She didn't say you were part of that we.
That is very, very true. I thought it was implied, but I was not correct.
Okay, so this was your very first trip to Disney. Do you feel like essentially being deprived of Disney for so long, like waiting your entire life, wanting to go and finally going, do you feel like you appreciated it more than like Adam, who got to go visit Disney World as a kid?
I think being able to fully absorb it for the first time as an adult is definitely different. And also, I just think of all the stuff that we bought that like I would have just been begging my parents for and like throwing a whole ass tantrum in the middle of the store.
And we talked about that repeatedly.
Yeah.
How we're just like, you want to get this? Cool. But if the kid said, I want this, we would have been like, shut up. You're gonna get what you get.
Get back in the stroller.
Yeah.
So from that, I think I'm glad that it transpired the way it did. And even the booking of it too, like I think part of the reason that I had never gone is because I have really bad anxiety and I like want to make the most of everything and I'm an over planner. And so like just the idea of like planning that all out was daunting. So the fact that we were just kind of like, all right, we'll go in 3 weeks took like that element out of it. So I couldn't really be that stressed out about it. So that ended up working out really well too.
Yeah, it just put it on one of our friends who could stress about it.
Exactly.
Thank you,
She
Sarah.
stresses out about it for a living. Works out.
Well, the funny thing you say that like, oh, I didn't have to stress about it. And I mean, that alone, like people stress out all the time over Disney vacations. Like that's kind of the thing about Disney is it's just like it's overcomplicated for being like a family destination that you are supposed to go and escape.
I think it comes from trying to make the most of whatever you think.
It's your expectations.
Yeah, you have expectations, so you try to make the most of that.
Yeah.
And the FOMO that comes from like, oh, well, what if we don't get on this ride? Then are we going to ruin our whole experience? And
I still never got on Slinky Dog, which I'm a little salty about. But
yeah,
can always go
There's
back.
always next time.
Always next time.
So Jill, I kind of had a similar, somewhat experience with Disney. I went as a teenager, but I was too cool and this was lame.
Oh, yeah.
And it was something where I remember going, but don't really remember much of it. And I, again, I was super excited about Universal, wanted to ride the roller coasters and whatnot. Was there ever a point that you felt that, hey, I need, like, not that I want to go to Disney, but I just need to go now because you have other people talking about it so much? You're like, what are they talking about? I just need like a FOMO,
Like an obligation.
Yes.
obligation to go just because.
100%. It's like one of those things where, you find out like the 17-year-old weird kid has never learned to ride a bike. Like
Yeah.
that's how I feel. Like, I'm just like, okay, am I the only like 35-year-old woman who has never been to Disney? That's what it felt like. So now I'm not in that camp anymore.
Yay. Now you're on the other side
Graduated.
Yeah, but FOMO definitely factored into it. So I'm glad that I was just like, if I don't go before I'm 40, like the rules are I'm going to Disney and I'm getting an in-ground pool. By the time I'm 40, past that, I don't really care what happens. So
We're
like those
50% through the
dreams.
bucket list.
we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The turning 40 bucket list.
Yes.
Kicking
let your
the
dreams be
young
dreams.
person bucket. Yeah.
I have a little bit to
Talked
go.
about the FOMO of it. You're a little salty. You didn't ride Slinky Dog. What expectations did you guys have going into the trip?
I didn't fully understand like what the Genie Plus thing was. I didn't understand like what the lightning lanes were. So I was just kind of like, okay, we're going to go there. And, out of like the 10 rides that I want to ride, we're probably going to get to ride 3 and we'll just be in line forever. And, that's just like part of the experience and it is what it is. And aside from the one ride that we decided to wait in line for, and then we ditched Aerosmith because we decided that was not a priority. But aside from that, we ended up doing the Genie Pass. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah,
Genie Plus, yeah.
Genie Plus.
Genie Plus.
Plus,
And
everything's a plus now.
And like all my friends, like I have some Disney friends and they were like, don't get that. That sucks. It's like not worth it. It worked out so well for us. I
Yeah.
don't know if we just got lucky.
Well, talking
but
about expectations, like having not been before and having not, had expectations based on the
Right.
pre-COVID standards,
Mhm.
to us, it was like, damn, you just book it and then you just basically go on? We're like, sick.
Genie Plus is a weird one though, because if you learn how to use it, it works really well. And if you're in if you're in the right park and you buy it early enough, conditions have to be pretty good to make the most of it. But I think you guys went into it with the right mindset of like, okay, there's 10 rides I want to ride over this whole week that you were there. You're like, if I ride 10 rides over a week, I'm golden. But if I ride 3 of them, like it is what it is. So like your expectations, which it's a terrible thing to like lower your expectations, but
No, but you don't want to like overhype it and not get
Exactly.
to do all the stuff that you want to do. I mean,
Right.
and that's another part of that's part of the reason I didn't like super look into it, because I just I was like, either the lines are going to be long or they're not, or we're going to pay for the thing that makes them not. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Well, I think it works when it works, but the times and again, we could go like really in detail, but the argument that I always make is it makes you wait outside of the line. So if you're going to go eat, you're going to go hang out, go sit down or whatever, that's what you're doing instead of waiting in the physical line. And then you go, cut the line basically. So I think to me, that's what it's doing. But it's great because like you haven't experienced any of that. So you didn't have an you're like, hey, while I'm waiting, let me go try this food. Let me try this dessert. Whereas like people that go all the time, you're like, next. I want to go get the next one. And it's like, just slow down a little bit.
And there's so much to see just in like a strolling around and taking it in
Yeah.
kind of way, that having been there for the first, like there were actually a few parks that, well, what do we do total? I mean, I hadn't been to Animal Kingdom. I hadn't been to the rest of Hollywood Studios. So there was a lot for me too, where it was like, okay, well, let's just book that window of time for that ride and then just literally go look at stuff
Yeah.
and eat again.
Yeah.
Which we did way too much of.
Yes, we did.
We ate just because we saw something on the menu that we liked repeatedly, whether or not we were hungry. So
Yeah.
we had no shortage of like things to do and things to see while we were waiting. And like you said, waiting outside the line rather than what we grew up on in St. Louis, sitting in like the Ninja roller coaster ride, line for an hour and a half, 2-3 hours, whatever, over and over and over.
If you wait 3 hours to ride the Ninja, you're more mentally ill than I am.
I used
I'm
to when I was
sorry,
like
but
13. I was like, dude, I'm gonna sit here all day.
that thing sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. So having grown up with that, like, yeah, of course, like, we'll book the thing and go walk around and have fun and eat another unnecessary thing and then go wait in line for 13 minutes. Yeah, it was great.
Or go find places to get our picture taken.
Y'all did a lot of that.
So speaking of the lines, did you wait in any lines to actually look at the queues?
We were trying to figure out how to get on the Avatar ride because, you know, certain ones are lightning lane only or whatever, and we missed the window. And so we decided, I think we got in line, like, does it close at 8? I think we got in line at like 7:50, and we ended up getting on it within like an hour, but I was like kind of stressed out until like halfway through the line because I was like, probably should have peed before we got in
Oh,
this
no.
line. But then they had bathrooms halfway through, so I was like, okay, this is a cool ride. But there's so much stuff to see and, like, you know, just take in, like you said, in the lines. It's almost not even a big deal.
Yeah, and that's the thing that Disney does so well is they make the whole queuing and waiting process so much more, if not interactive, at least more interesting.
Yes.
Than a lot of places. Like you go to, you know, Six Flags or any other kind of like amusement park, and there's some stuff in line that, you know, I'm thinking of like the Mr. Freeze at our Six
that's
Flags.
exactly what I was going to say.
That has like a cardboard cutout style thing of like a character. So
Disney's definitely next level when it comes to that kind
yeah,
of
and
stuff.
especially Galaxy's Edge. Like the very first time I went to Galaxy's Edge, we were with a friend who had some kind of hookup where we would basically go through the accessibility line and skip all of the stuff. And it was cool the first time, but then the next day when we went without her, I was like, damn, there's all this stuff in the line. And I was doing the thing in the app and like seeing all the great things, like full blown like movie sets, essentially you're sitting and waiting in. So when you do actually go sit in it, it's not bad. I think if you have kids with you and they're bored and they're nagging and like, you know, when are we going to get there? That's one thing. But as some adults that are just chilling, and in the case of the Avatar line,
I did a little bit of whining though. You weren't totally chilling.
but you know, in the case of Avatar, doing it at night, like Sarah, you recommended being in that world at night to see all the kind of the bioluminescence type stuff.
That was awesome.
It made the line actually really fun because every time we'd get to like a new little turn where there was a vantage point or an opportunity for a picture, we would take advantage of that, and we would actually use that time to, you know, create more experiences rather than just stomping our feet that we weren't in it yet.
You
know?
created the experience of already being on Zillow and looking at houses in Orlando while we were in line
So
for the
it was
Avatar
like
ride.
happening as you were there.
We were literally
you were
not. I don't
converting.
think we were in. I don't think we were in Orlando for 24 hours. And I like look over because I'm like, oh, is he like looking at the stuff for tomorrow? No, he's looking at houses. So yeah, that was an experience for him.
So the Avatar ride, I have my story that happened to me while we were at Disney. My phone got too hot and I guess got wet and just died. So I had no phone for this trip, but it still worked because I could text on my watch. But I had to, or I didn't have to, but I sat through the Avatar line because we do rider swap because we have the kids. So by myself, sitting through that hour and a half wait with no phone, just looking, just like old school.
Yeah.
What an interesting rock.
Yeah.
I wonder what's around the bend.
Another rock.
Look
Like,
at that
I know
one.
we all did
It's
that,
bigger.
but it's just, it's like so unfathomable.
It's weird to think about life before
Yeah.
being able to distract yourself with your phone. Yeah.
Seriously.
I mean, the fact that like that's such a core memory for you. It was like I had to wait
I
in
love the
line
ride. That's-
for an hour and a half without my
It's
phone.
my favorite ride out of all the rides. You know, I love the Star Wars rides, but it's because the way it is, it feels like a personal ride. It's my favorite.
And just so we're clear, when we're talking about the Avatar ride, we're talking about Flight of Passage, not the Navi River journey, because those are two very different rides.
Yes, the Navi River Journey is the first ride that I ever went on at Disney, but I
Oh,
thought it was
yeah.
tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It
liked
was,
it.
I mean,
like
it only
But-
goes up from there.
The shaman.
If that was your first one,
yeah.
there's nothing
Flight of
wrong with it.
Passage
It's just
was-
not.
It's you know,
It is like classic Disney though, you know?
Yeah.
Like
It's a boat ride.
it's a boat ride going back to the very beginning.
Well, the Flight of Passage one, so that's the one that we actually like waited in line for, and the closer we got, there's the signs that are like, if you're afraid of heights, which yeah, I am.
Oh no.
Like, maybe you don't want to do this, and I was like, oh, but like this is the one I waited in line for, like. So I just made myself do it, and I'm really glad it wasn't like, I don't know, I understand. Maybe I have a different fear of heights than other people do, but I really
Your fear of heights is very rational. You know, it's not like, well, I mean,
I didn't
like
expect that.
like I'm the same, just to a different degree. Like if I'm standing on the edge of a building with no railing, no glass, I'm scared as hell. You're the same, but you prefer to be like 30 feet back from the edge. You know,
Or not on the edge at all.
Right.
We went to the Hoover Dam after we were in Vegas, and I was like, I can't be out here. Like, this is not my scene. I'm going to go inside and play on my phone that I have, luckily, this time.
Point being, knowing that you're on a ride, you're in a harness.
Exactly.
Like you can go on roller coasters
Well,
when you have like you have some peace of mind.
And they
you know?
give you glasses, too.
Yeah.
And, like, I think part of my fear of heights comes from the fact that I wear glasses, and I'm scared, like, if I look over the edge, they're going to fall off, and that just freaks me out even more. So, like,
Yeah.
once we put glasses on, I was like, oh, okay, my glasses aren't going to fall off. This is cool.
Yeah, there's some like childhood trauma involved.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
But the thing with Flight of Passage is like, it says if you're afraid of heights, but if you don't think about it, you don't know that you're high up either, because just of the way that it's designed. But okay, so you guys have mentioned Six Flags many a time, which is an amusement park, right? And then you go to Disney, and Disney is a theme park. So there's a big difference between those two types of destinations. But then beyond that, Disney has, and I'm sure you guys have heard of it before, what's called the Disney Magic, right? So it could be as simple as cast members showing kindness to people, or awesome character interactions that maybe you experienced, or maybe you saw characters interacting with somebody else, and you just feel this for us, it just feels like love. It feels like warmth. It's amazing. So did you experience any of the Disney magic while you guys were on your trip?
I think so. I think some of it was Disney magic, and some, like you said, was like, we got there and I think I unpacked my clothes in the hotel room for the first time ever in my life. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in one place. It's a cool place. There's food. There's squirrels. People are in a good mood. It was really, and like, it is really cool to see like all the little girls in the princess dresses, and them like meeting the princesses. Like, it's just like making their day. And so I think that was probably my favorite part, honestly. Besides the dinosaur ride, I like that too. It was very magical for me.
Yeah. Who doesn't like dinosaurs? Yeah.
I am a huge fan of the movie Clifford. I don't know if we've ever discussed this. It's where Martin Short plays the little kid. Dude, if you haven't watched it.
Not the big red dog.
Not the big red dog. But if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. There's a dinosaur ride involved in it. So that was kind of like my Disney princess moment. I was like, oh my God, I'm a Larry the Scary Rex, kind of. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. But there's definitely a different feeling, like, in the air there, if you will. So
Yeah.
I would say yes. My answer would be yes.
Yeah.
TLDR.
There is, despite, times where the park's just packed. Like we happened to time a couple of the days really poorly. Like
I did not feel the magic in Magic Kingdom on a Monday morning at like 11 a.m. But
we
I
could
will
appreciate
say,
the other people who maybe were the children.
So I got my way on Saturday. So Thursday we went to Animal Kingdom. Friday we went to Epcot. Then Saturday we went to Hollywood Studios, and then kind of like came back, took a breather, and then went to Magic Kingdom probably at like 8 p.m. on Saturday, because we were like, all right, cool, this one's open till 11. Amazing. At night, it was so cool. And like, going back during the day, like, because there weren't that many people there. Like,
right.
We got on pretty much every ride that we want. I think we waited like 5 minutes maybe for It's a Small World, and then somebody from St. Louis recognized Adam, so why wouldn't that happen?
It is a small world.
It was so I was like, oh, this is gonna happen right here. Of all places, this is gonna happen. But Magic Kingdom at night was like my favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
So But then, like you said, during the day, it is cool to see like all the little.
Yeah, and you know, I still have those moments every time at Galaxy's Edge where I'm so immersed and completely elated.
I really liked Galaxy's Edge.
Is that that's a quiet confession?
I didn't expect to like it as much as I did.
It's really good, isn't it?
It is really good.
Really good. That's your analysis.
Like really well done.
It is it's well executed. Yes.
Regardless of how into Star Wars or not a park goer might be, it is.
You have to appreciate it. Like even my dad, who I think has never seen a Star Wars movie in his life, probably. I don't know. That's just a conjecture. But anyway, he would go there and he would be like, "Holy, this is awesome."
Yeah, and appreciate.
Yeah.
The people who created it,
the
if
detail,
nothing else, the attention to detail and like the world building, the immersive nature of it, and I think that's why we loved Animal Kingdom so much as well, because it is a newer park relatively. I mean, it's not brand new, but it's one of the newer ones, and it's so well crafted, that you can't help but look at it and go, "Damn, we're just in Florida right now."
Right.
But it feels like we're legitimately like, you know, at like a base camp in the Himalayas for a moment, you know, that kind of stuff. So those are the most magical moments to me when I'm so immersed in.
You just like zoom out for a second and you're like,
like this is a vacation, but I feel like I'm in a completely otherworldly kind of location. So that's great. And then also seeing like just how enthusiastic cast members typically are. Of course, there are plenty of people who just don't want to be there that day, or they've been working there for 17 years and it's about their time to move on. But more often than not, cast members are just stoked and they're super nice. And when it comes to, you know, photos, for example, they're just all smiles and give me this pose, do this. Okay, have a great day. You know, it's much different from again, sorry to keep bashing on Six Flags, but it's like, you know, it's like the scene from Idiocracy, like walking into Costco. Welcome to Costco. I love you. You know? Yeah.
So Disney is very emotional, both on the good side of it just being awesome and you're having a good time. You feel really immersed. You see the magic, but then also on the opposite side of it, there's lots of strong emotions on the bad side. People get really stressed out. Families are melting down by the end of the day. You guys seemed to just have a ball the entire time. So how did you touched on it a little bit where you're just like, well, we'll plan it 3 weeks ahead and it was what it was. But how did you mitigate any of that stress like in the moment of the trip? Because that's something that a lot of people, we do it too. Like we get in our heads and we're just like, why won't you listen to me, child? Or get out of the way. We're pushing a stroller. And it's like, we get in our own head and we stress out.
Oh, for sure.
How did you guys mitigate or I guess navigate around that?
For me, the days where we went back and took breaks were a lot easier because like the first couple days were kind of stressful because, you know, it was my first time there and I'm like, okay, it opens at 8 a.m. We're getting there at 8 a.m. and we are going until like 8 p.m. no matter what. And by like 2 o'clock, I feel like, you know, I got hit by a truck. So that was definitely stressful the first couple days, just trying to think, you know, trying to pack it all in. And then, you know, we got there on a Thursday, which was perfect because it wasn't too crazy at Animal Kingdom. And then we went into the weekend and it was definitely like, okay, people don't know where to walk. People, you know, there were the people in Germany when we were at Epcot that were just like, I forget what the photo op was, but they were just, there was like a it was Hollywood Studios. There was just like a congregation of people with strollers. It was like a group of like 10 people and they were in the middle of the walkway and I just wanted to be like,
completely blocking a walkway.
Completely.
Honestly,
so it could have been
aside
us.
from like, aside from the inherent stress that comes from crowding.
Yes.
There were a few moments like that where it was like peak. I mean, who knows what it was like pre-COVID, but like peak. They weren't at capacity, but it was enough people that it, like over and over, I was like, oh my God, pay attention to social cues, learn how to walk. What's wrong with you? I'm going to stab you. But overall, not too bad because, again, we don't have kids and we were just like, we'll do what we want to do.
Yeah, I fully understand why my parents did not want to drag us all there now. Like, experiencing it as an adult, like, I'm like, okay, that tracks. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think we've kind of done the same thing, like with the, midday breaks with the kids.
You have to.
But it's beneficial to us as well because it's just kind of like, hey, we all kind of just get a break. And it's great coming back to the parks because you could see all the meltdowns that people are having and you come in refreshed, ready to go for part 2.
You're like, I just took a 45-minute nap. Bring it on, Magic Kingdom.
We also, I feel like we're both excited for the next time we go.
Yes.
Now having a better handle
having
on...
like kind of a strategy. I will say the one thing that we were not very good at, and this is not an issue for most people probably because I'm pretty sure there are vegan options basically everywhere if you like ask them. But as far as just like walking up and, getting something, we didn't really map those things out very well.
Right.
So we would have like I think like what's the racing ride that's in Epcot?
Test track?
The Chevy one or something? Yes.
Yeah, Test Track, yeah.
So we had that, and then, like, we were hungry, and we didn't realize that Connections had stuff, so we, like, walked all the way back over, and then we were like, okay, back over. So we, like, now that we know the layout a little bit better and, like, where we want to go, that was definitely stressful, but, again, probably not an issue for most people who don't have dietary restrictions.
I remember one day we're like, okay, well, we're only trying to do XYZ on this day, so this is probably going to be like a less walking day. Referencing her Apple Watch data, we were like, okay, well, we walked like 9 miles yesterday. Hopefully today will be less.
But we ended up 11 miles.
Yeah, we walked more because it was like food related in a lot of ways. We're like,
I'm very food motivated.
We have to go across the park to get so and so. So there's that kind of stuff. So when we come back, we'll be able to plan for that, and we'll also know that there's certain rides we don't need to check off a list anymore.
Exactly. That too.
Do you feel like that? No, whatever. We've done that kind of thing.
Right. I do want to do the Guardians of the Galaxy ride again, though. I think that was one of my favorite ones. It was really good. Awesome.
That's the nice thing, though, about like your first time everything is new. You want to experience absolutely everything. And it tends to be more of like the rides, right? Because you think of it like an amusement park where the attraction is the rides, the attractions. But then the next time you go, you're like, oh, well, I could just, catch a parade or catch a show, or I can just watch and walk around. And like Steven's favorite thing to do is to sit in the hub grass he goes and gets little like food from Casey's Corner, sits in the hub grass and just like people watches.
It's
people
the best.
watching there is like, oh boy.
Just taking it in.
It's great.
People watching at Six Flags, you know what? Actually, that is one area where Six Flags meets Disney. The people watching at the Six Flags in Eureka, Missouri is unparalleled.
So let's analyze a little bit more. What is it that you think really imprinted on you on Disney? Like, what is it that is making you want to just go back, or after 24 hours, you're already on Zillow looking at houses?
And to give you an example, like one of the things, like the first things that I noticed, and I was just like, it felt, again, from a Universal Six Flags, it was
Astroworld. Pour one
ours
out.
was Astroworld, but it was just so clean. And that's like, I walked in and I was just like, wow. So that was like one thing, like the very first thing that just kind of like.
There's smells and they're nice smells.
Yeah. So.
That's one of the things that I definitely noticed. And I, like I said, I really liked Animal Kingdom, and I'm sure a lot of like what factors into it for a lot of people is like seeing how much their kids are enjoying it and seeing like, the interactions that they're having. And I don't have a child, but I have a man-child. And so like he loves it so much. Like he loves just being Galaxy's Edge. So that's part of it for me for sure. But it's definitely, it's like top tier for sure. It's clean, it's pleasant, it just has a nice atmosphere. everybody, all the staff members, like cast members, sorry, are very accommodating.
God, you might as well call this episode "Why Disney's Great and Six Flags Sucks." But like, we couldn't help but compare it to that over and over. Like the cleanliness is one thing, like the attention to detail. It's all the stuff that they talk about in the Imagineering series and all these other documentaries. Yeah, for me, part of wanting to be there all the time, and part of what draws me back and makes me want to live within a 15-minute drive is...
Now we're down to 15 minutes. It was 30 before. So
15, 37 minutes, whatever.
It's better than 16 hours.
Yeah. Like what you're saying, about Stephen, your experience, just wanting to kind of take it in.
Mm-hmm.
And Galaxy's Edge is fully that, because it, as far as like amusement parks go, a lot of people would say like, well, it's only got 2 rides. What the hell? But I don't care. Like the rides are incredible, but I just want to be on that planet.
It's where the people are.
Yeah, it's a world.
Yeah.
You want to be part of the
absorb
world.
You want to see them.
Yeah.
See them dancing.
Well, and this is something that we've said, regardless of if you could pick it apart, right? You could say, oh, it's just 2 rides, or this is not nice because of this or whatever.
There's not enough vegan options.
Yeah, there's things that really go, get in there, but it comes down to, we're still going to compare. Like, this is now kind of that gold standard. What Disney's doing is that gold standard,
yes.
and then Astroworld, okay, they're falling because they can't even get the 2 rides, or the theming, they can't get that. They have only one vegan option, or whatever the situation is. And I think Disney has done that well, where yes, people are going to complain because either it's Disney or it has some kind of shortfalling, but it still ends up being that kind of gold standard.
Yep. It's the measuring stick.
Going back to the attention to detail, there's certain stuff that maybe not everyone notices, but I, as a person who, is typically obsessed with detail, and like I'm a very obsessive compulsive type person, and I'm an artist, and I'm a maker in general, and the kind of person who's like, well, why would I pay someone to do that to our house when I can learn how to do it myself?
It's only going to take 11 months.
Right.
That's that guy.
So little things like she was in the bathroom at the front of Magic Kingdom, and I'm just standing there staring and taking close-up pictures at the brick, because I legitimately couldn't tell if that was the color of the brick, or if it was painted and then the mortar was painted a different color. Like you would notice that in a place that's old and run down, because you would see the cracks and realize like, oh, they repainted this because it got old. But Disney, it's like, it's all a facade. It's all fake. These aren't real black spires made of some kind of spacey mineral. It's all artificial, but it's done so well that you have to get like this close. For anyone who's listening, my hands are right in front of my face. You have to get this close to really see what's happening. And I'm taking pictures like to send to our brother-in-law, who's a bricklayer,
And I come out of the bathroom and he's just taking pictures of bricks, and I'm like, okay, what's the plan? Like, where are we going from here? Like, time's a wasting.
So it's that kind of stuff on a very micro level, and then backing up on a macro level and taking in the world, that is just intoxicating to me and so compelling, and will draw me back again and again and again, because there's just so much to see if you can and will and are willing to experience it at that depth.
I'm personally pretty excited. I would like to go. I mean, we're going to go back probably within, like, if you had your way, like, you'd be back there this week before you leave for your tour. But probably not going to happen. Sorry. I would really actually like to go to Disneyland next, just because I would like to have a comparison, because it's older, and like, I love the nostalgia stuff, and like, No Doubt is my favorite band of all time, and I grew up listening to Tragic Kingdom, and so like that, I've been in downtown Disney. We've driven by Gwen Stefani's old house and like through Anaheim and all that stuff. So now, once I actually make it inside of that park, it will be interesting to see how it compares to Disney.
And then you can weigh in on Batu East versus West, because we've had this hot debate lately.
On the channel, there's a very we're very divided on the East versus West over here. That
what
East Coast West. beef is still there.
Adam's been to both. Do you have a preference either way?
The only thing that I prefer one way or the other is I do favor West in terms of how it transitions from world to world.
Yeah, their critter country is good.
They're indistinguishable. Like there's just something about that tunnel in Batu West, the way it transitions, like the rock, like the strata of the rock there, how it transitions so seamlessly. Whereas coming from Toy Story Land,
yeah, Toy Story Land,
like you can see the two worlds from each other.
In like onto Batu is a little jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing. Like once you're in it, you're in it. And to me, like, you know, I'm thinking about Ogus. It's right over here. You know, there's no difference when you're in like from the Falcon to like, you know, like the Droid Depot and Savvy's and stuff like that, and even the market. It's so similar. It's just those paths between certain areas. Like technically Anaheim's bigger because the paths are longer because they had to, you know, work with the lay of the land. But when you're right there, it's the same planet. It's the same world.
Yep.
And it's so well done. I mean, everything about the parks.
Which one opened first?
West.
Anaheim.
Yeah, it opened like 3 months before.
Okay.
Unless you're...
Yeah, that's right. It was like March and August or something.
Right. Unless you're in there like constantly, you know, even the Magic Kingdom stuff, I don't know. It all looks like Disneyland, Disney World, whatever. It's like, it's so well done that it just doesn't matter. Like there's little stuff, especially watching documentaries. I'm like, oh, that's Walt's apartment from when they were building, you know? But here in Florida, it's obviously not, you know? But I don't know. I think the debate is kind of pointless.
Yeah. Look at you. Okay, you know? So then will you go on record and say that you guys are officially Disney adults? Have we got you?
This is a question for you.
I am a Disney. I am not a mouse ear wearing Disney adult, but I think I'm a Disney adult.
It only requires a blood oath. You don't have to wear the ears.
It's like, are you obsessed? Like, do you just happen to be
like
doom
check
scrolling?
Wait times.
Like, I wonder what Disney's doing right now. You know, what's going on over there?
Yes.
Okay.
And I sent you a DM the other day because I follow like the Vegan Disney World accounts on Instagram, and they have vegan street corn right now, and I'm so sad that we missed it.
And we also didn't know you could order off-menu vegan poutine in Epcot because it was on menu last time I was there.
Yeah.
So there's some other crap there now that's just not appealing when you're looking for poutine.
I will say, go ahead.
But it's still available off menu, and we didn't know that.
I will say to that point, and to one of the questions earlier, when I remembered seeing like on a blog that I think it's called Scoops, that's in Hollywood Studios, had vegan ice cream, and I didn't see it on the menu, and so I walked up and I asked, and they were like, oh yeah, and you know, me being vegetarian for as long as I have, you know, we're going to Taco Bell and we're saying, give us beans instead of beef, and they're irritated about it. Those people were the nicest people. Like, it was a huge pain in the ass for them to go like find the binder and be like, I'm gonna go find this and this, and they were so nice about it. I was just like, do you remember you came back over? Yeah. And I was like, that lady was so nice.
So I'm delighted to hear that you feel like you are at least a Galaxy's Edge adult. I know you're fully invested in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, I'm in an Animal Kingdom, but I've been an Animal Kingdom adult since I was like 3.5.
Yeah. So. Even without being there.
Yeah.
Or an adult.
Or
I grew up pretty fast being the oldest of 4 kids. Yeah. Give me some credit.
You don't know what to put on this diaper, right? Yeah. Bye-bye. So do you want to talk at all about the dreams or borderline nightmares that you've been having pretty much nonstop since we got back?
They have finally subsided, but for like, I think that's the telltale sign is like 3 weeks after I'm like waking up from a Disney nightmare. We're like trying to meet you guys, but I have to go to the bathroom because I didn't go to the bathroom ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then I'm like trying to find you, and you know, we booked the lightning lane and we missed it by 5 minutes, and like we're trying to, you know.
Oh man.
They have not stopped.
You're
So-
in deep, dude.
It's just,
I'm in pretty deep.
you're not to the
And-
point of acceptance yet. You're still in the denial
That's
phase.
the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Many steps.
don't underestimate my ability to turn everything into an anxious situation. But this in particular has haunted me for quite some time.
Yeah.
So-
I feel like
It's in my subconscious now.
you'll go back one time and it'll all be okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like it's okay now. It's just like, again, salty about Slinky Dog. But I think I'll feel totally different the next time.
Yeah,
We
because
go.
it'll be casual.
Yeah.
It'll be yeah. Let's
I'll be
go
like,
on
oh,
that,
I
or
didn't get to
let's-
ride that the last time, Slinky Dog. So let's go do that first, and then.
And dude, ultimately, for the record, like, yes, Slinky Dog is a long wait. It's hard to to grab for
Am I
Genie Plus
missed-
or whatever.
like-
But we kind of ascertained this when we were there the last day. It's just the only real roller coaster in
Yeah.
the thing that's like very kid focused. So
That is
every little
true.
kid is like, I want to do the real one.
Yeah.
I would assume.
which
you know?
is why I want to do it.
And aside from a Slinky being a perfect toy to convert into a roller coaster train,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't seem like there's anything particularly special about it, right?
It's not like
just, like,
thrilling in
themed
any
well.
way. It's more of like it's a roller coaster for younger kids.
Yeah.
It's really cute and it's fun and the theming is really good on it. But like if you had missed like Guardians of the Galaxy, I would have been like, oh man, that's a big bummer. But like Slinky Dog, it's fun, but it's also not one that we hit. I don't think we've ridden Slinky Dog in like well
A
over
while,
a year. Yeah, it's been
just
many,
'cause of the
many
wait.
trips.
And again, I think we just kind of like gauge it like, it looks like it's going to be a shorter wait. We'll go ahead and
Or we hop in right before park close
Yeah.
and then it's usually like a 20, 30 minute wait. That's the move.
But everybody's going to their respective ride. They're like, we try to get on Rise one time, or I think
This
one of the
last trip,
times,
yeah.
and the timer it said 30 minutes, and we're like, okay, good. And then we stopped like at the gate.
Like outside.
No, like yeah. Well, we're still outside, but it's kind of like the front entrance gate.
Oh, like between like lightning lane and standby.
Yeah. And I was like, this is not 30 minutes, thinking that it was maybe just someone held up, and it was me and Justin. We were waiting. We're like, no, this is not. So then we booked it over.
Y'all
to
hoofed it over to me. I was at Runaway Railway. Y'all got there in like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
But it was like, because once the park closes, they don't let anybody get in line. So as long as you're in line, you're, you get
Golden.
the last ride. But
Golden.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the other
The
thing.
way everybody thinks that stores work. If I get in there at 8:59, then I can do all of my shopping for the next
but
3.5
because
weeks.
Disney started doing that. So you're like, hey,
Exactly.
Yep.
That's the thing.
It's your fault, Walter.
Yeah. Like I'm really interested to know how cast members feel and like what their expectations are. Like, are they
Yes.
scheduled, if the park closes at 8, are they scheduled until 10?
They have to be, or like even midnight.
Yeah.
They have to go
well, that
over.
day in particular, it was the cheer weekend.
Yeah.
So they were having like after hours parties. So they were going to be working a lot longer.
They were working a lot later. But Adam, you didn't answer the question. Are you a Disney adult now?
Bro, I've been a Disney adult since
When
the first
do-
time I went to Galaxy's Edge.
No, since the day that Disney acquired Lucasfilm, you have been a Disney adult. Let's be real.
Yeah.
You were indoctrinated.
Yeah. I was, they inherited me from
Yes.
the other property.
You were
Yeah.
grandfathered
Look
in.
at you.
Yes.
You're a Disney grandfather, not a Disney adult.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't appreciate those age jokes.
Oh. I mean,
It's
He's
kind of
used
let's
to
acknowledge
Don't
it,
worry,
though.
he's
kind of
used to
rough,
it.
you guys.
I think we can easily say you guys have been Disney adults for a long time, but this recent trip to Disney World has just grabbed hold of you and you guys are inching your way towards the Florida move
Yes. Yes.
pretty quickly, not even inching. You're sprinting over there as fast as you can.
If he had his way, we would have bought a house while we were there. I don't know financially if that's the journey for us.
Maybe
but,
not the move with the interest rates right now.
We will be there once he made the point that if we get a pool there, I can use it 12 months out of the year instead of like 4.5. I was like, oh yeah, that's true.
Look at that.
Yep.
So
And then cha-ching, you
That-
got
that's
that
a
other one
salesman
knocked
right
off.
there.
Yeah. Bucket list done. All right. I think that's a good place to wrap this episode up. Adam, Jill, is there anything that you guys want to talk about? Where can people find you on the internet? What do you have going on? Adam, I know you've got a lot of stuff going on. You're Mr. Worldwide soon.
go to his profile and then click the ring. I don't even know what my Instagram name is right now.
Okay.
I am not a man. That's what it is.
There we go.
I'm not that exciting. Don't bother following me.
My social, I'm on Instagram at Adam the Skull. That's it, just Instagram. Follow Thank the Maker podcast on Instagram and TikTok at Thank the Maker Pod. And
don't get 4 dogs.
definitely just stop at 2.
That's my message. That's what I want to pass along to people is do not have 4 dogs. 3 dogs is fine. 4 dogs, don't do it.
Yeah.
I like that. No
And I'm a
context
dog lover
advice.
and advocate. Yes. That's,
All the other stuff, the band stuff at Story of the Year on, I guess, everything. And we're doing a short Australia tour. It's Knotfest, the Slipknot Festival, and then some side shows in just a couple weeks. There's one festival show in Kansas City in June, and then
that's going to be awesome. I'm really excited.
that's going to be good. And then July, we're doing the majority of the Yellow Card U.S. Ocean Avenue 20th Anniversary Tour. And that'll be a really good time. We're not doing the West Coast, unfortunately. Anne Berlin's doing all of that in our slot. But it is a good, 3 weeks of shows.
Mosh Isley.
Mosh
and Mosh
I'm
Isley.
very, very excited to go bother everybody and put my Leia belt on upside down again and just party, No Jameson in your computer or White Claw, whatever it
Yeah,
was.
Whatever
I'm gonna
it
try
was.
to take it easy this time.
Yeah.
Try not to black out this time. But right in the middle of the Yellow Card tour, I will be leaving, meeting her in San Diego, doing Mosh Isley, and then flying all the way back across to Florida to pick it up in Tampa. I'll be missing a show or 2.
It'll be fun.
It's going to be so much fun. Tickets are still on sale. If you do want to buy tickets, moshisley.com. And I think that's it. We're good. We're out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much. Until next time.